So, artificial intelligence, it's a new kind of computer that's coming out. It probably in the next several years, it's going to start coming out, and it's probably going to be in your cell phone. And what it does is it's a computer that can kind of think for itself and make its own programming even more effective and change its own programming to change itself. So it's like getting a computer that starts out being maybe a phone, and then it starts changing itself and adding to itself to add like text features and social media features and all kinds of things. So it's going to be like creating computers. So the next stage of computers is going to be made by computers. The thing is that we don't know what's going to happen with artificial intelligence because basically it's a computer that can think for itself. It's basically a computer that can make itself better and better and better, just without any limit whatsoever. So this is weird. This is really weird. Like on the one hand, it sounds really cool. Like it's going to be a fast computer that's going to do everything real quick and give you good answers. And maybe like, if you're ask it a question, you don't just ask it, oh, what's the phone number to this restaurant? It's going to be like, you can ask it things like, so where should I, you could be like, where should I travel in the world? And it's going to be like, well, do you like this and do you like that? Whatever. They're going to ask like, oh, do you like tea? Then you should travel to China. Or like, do you like coffee? Then you should travel to like, Italy or something. It's weird because it's going to actually like, you can ask it freaking questions that you can't ask computers now. Like right now, you really can't ask a computer like a complex question. You can ask it like, oh, what's the phone number to this? Or what's the ingredients to this wine or whatever it is. But you cannot ask it like real, like complicated questions. Like what's the best price on an airline ticket? It right now, it doesn't do that. It'll basically probably like show you like a bunch of prices for airline tickets, and it won't even show you like every price. It'll just show you like the prices on a list, but something where the computer basically right now, people are making computers better, but when AI takes over, it's going to make itself better. So, but the thing is, it's going to make itself better in ways that we don't know how it's going to make itself better. It's just going to be a better computer. The way it thinks, it should be better. It'll just improve on itself. And actually, it'll actually create more computers. Like, because if you put the computer into like a mechanical thing connected to like a mechanics, it becomes a robot, and now it can create new computers. And it can whatever, but basically the whole thing is that once AI takes over, the computer of 1 year is just going to be better than the computer of the previous year, but it's not going to be that way because people invented it. In fact, the thing is, the more AI takes off and the smarter it is, potentially, it can start inventing things that people really haven't invented yet. And it might be that just like, it can invent things a lot better than people can. So it can come up with like a new cell phone better than, technicians at Apple could come out with a new cell phone, so lots of things is going to be like controlled by these computers. It'll just do a better job at everything than we do. So it'll be like a better baker because it'll figure out like how to make the best bread. Because like a baker can be like, okay, so I'm going to cook it for like 10 minutes and then I'm going to cook it for 20 minutes and I'll see which is the better bread. This computer will be able to figure out like exactly like what ingredients to put in a bread, how long to cook it, what temperature, what to make the oven out of, what to put inside the bread. It'll figure this out faster than a baker can. It's going to actually be a better baker than the baker. It'll make better cars than the car designers and mechanics now. It'll figure everything out better than people will. So it'd be like, if you don't know where you want to go, like what restaurant you want to go, it's going to suggest it for you because it's going to know like better than what restaurant to go to, or even like, any question you have, like you could be like, you know, it's amazing because like when you walk into a store, when you have these things, and basically AI means they're just really smart computers that the computer will probably figure out what you want to buy faster than a person will figure out what you want to buy. You know, so you can walk into a store and instead of telling the store person, oh, so I need something like this or I need something like that, it'll be able to tell you like what you should buy. Like for clothing, it'll tell you what you look good in. Like it'll do things so much better than people. And that's just like the first stage of it, because at the first stage of AI, when it's really AI, is when it starts doing things better than people, like in every way. Like it'll be like a teacher that will know how to teach a person. So basically, like, you know, you'll have an AI teacher instead of a regular human teacher, like a person teacher, because when the student asks a question, the AI can give it a better answer than a person can. And the thing is, it's going to be more accurate than a regular teacher, because sometimes teachers can give you the wrong answer because maybe they forgot it wrong, they remembered it wrong, or whatever it is. AI is really probably not going to get things too wrong. The facts are going to be there. You know, the computers are already good with facts and math and figuring stuff out, but it's going to be able to like actually teach people, you know, better than teachers will. It'll drive a car. Like your car will just drive itself because it'll be a better driver than you will, because it knows, like, say you're driving a car and you go through a green light, you don't know if someone is coming like down the intersection, you know, crossing the intersection and going through a red light. You don't know that person's there because you don't see them around the corner. But with AI, your car will actually stop if someone is going through a red light. Or if that person has AI in his car and they forget to like stop at the light, the AI will actually stop the car at the light, you know? And that's what's amazing about AI. It's like, it'll basically drive your car better than you can. It'll be safer than people, because if someone like runs in front of the car, like a person or a dog or a cat or something, that car will stop, and every car behind it will stop, because all the cars will have that same AI. And what's really interesting about AI in cars, artificial intelligence in cars, it's not going to just drive itself, but basically it'll park itself. So what's cool about that is, it's like, say you live in like buildings and streets and there's parking, and you really don't know where there's parking. You know, you have to kind of drive around the area to find parking, and you really don't know where there's going to be parking. So what's cool about, you know, AI in a car is that it'll basically drop you off at your house. You'll be able to like get out of the car and just leave the car there. You don't have to lock it. You don't have to like do anything with it. The car just does itself. It'll basically, like, if you have a parking space, it'll park itself. And if you don't have a parking space, it'll drive around until it finds a parking space and park itself. And then when you want to get back in your car, you don't have to walk to find the parking space. You'll just, like, probably on your cell phone, you'll just hit the button, you know, the app on the cell phone, the AI car app on the cell phone, and the car will pick you up at whatever time you tell it to pick you up in front of your house. It'll actually drive itself to the front of your house, pick you up. And you don't have to like refuel it or whatever it is. I know they're going to be electric, but even if it's like electric or it's fuel driven, it'll, like, when you're not using it and it needs gas, it'll just go and fill itself up. It'll fill itself up in a gas station or an electric station where there's also AI. So it'll like interact with the other computers at the gas station and the robotics that'll basically like plug the AI into the socket or pour some like gas in its tank, and you don't have to do any of that. It'll like drive itself to the shop to get more oil, or when something's about to break, it'll go ahead and fix it by itself before that thing breaks. And you don't have to like wake up early in the morning to go to the car mechanic and sit there all day and wait for the mechanic to fix your car. If something's wrong with the car, before it even like breaks, the car will figure this out, drive itself to the mechanic, and tell the mechanic exactly what to fix. And at some point, it'll just be like robots fixing the car because because the other computer knows how to fix what. And amazing, amazing stuff. But what's interesting about that is, as good as it can get, it'll also be able to like figure out things that you probably don't want it to do. Like it'll probably, like with every technology, there's always another side to it. It's real convenient. It's really good. Once you attain a certain level of technology, you can't go back. Like now that we have cell phones and we keep them in our pocket, I really don't see like any way out of that. Like I think like the future is we're all just going to have cell phones for, I don't know for how long, until they can find another way that's more convenient than a cell phone, because it's just convenient to have a cell phone in your pocket, just because if you need to make a phone call or whatever, you could do it, and that's the thing. So the only thing about AI is, what's interesting about that is we don't know what the future computers are going to do, like the cell phone computers with AI in your pocket. It'll figure stuff out for you. It'll tell you like, if you don't know where to go, what restaurant, it'll tell you like, you could I feel like Indian food, right? It'll tell you where is, and then you'll be like, oh, what kind of Indian food do you want? It'll be like, well, I want chicken with curry or whatever, right? And it'll be okay, so chicken curry, and they'll be like, it'll look at the database and figure out the best chicken curry is at this restaurant. This is the location. This is the price. And right now there's actually an extra table available because this other restaurant, the tables are full. So this restaurant, there's a table available. So it'll tell you not only like where the best. It's not like you just want Indian food, so you don't know which restaurant to go to. You could tell it like, I want a specific thing, and they'll say, oh, this restaurant, and you should go at this time. It'll make the appointment, it'll make like the reservation for you, or it'll tell you, oh, you should go at this time, and it'll actually call the restaurant and make a reservation for you, or make sure that when it'll contact the restaurant's computer and make sure that there's an empty table by the time you get there in half an hour. So it's real amazing, but at the same time, when you walk into a store, the AI remembers what you bought last time. Like if you went into a store and bought a pair of jeans, it's going to show you more jeans. It's going to say like, oh, you bought jeans last time. Would you like to look at this, instead? So it's just so weird. Like we don't know, like, it's cool the computers can be that smart, but also once they're that smart with AI, they just become smarter and smart. Like the computer will just make itself smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. And like without, probably to the capacity of the hardware is capable of, that the hardware is capable of having. Or and when it gets to the point where it's as powerful and as smart as the hardware can contain it, it'll actually probably invent new hardware to make itself even smarter. The thing about AI is once it takes off, we don't really know if there's ever going to be a limit. How fast these computers are going to be, how smart they're going to be, and to what level of like complexity are they going to be. So we don't really know what computers will basically invent stuff and invent those things to become better and better and better and better. So there's just no predicting how powerful these things can be. And that's the thing, right now, they're just a computer. It's just a machine, you can control it, but then it becomes so smart that, like maybe you can't control it after a certain point where where you really cannot, where like you can't do anything with it. It just becomes so smart that it just does its own thing, and we don't really know what it's going to do because it's going to think for itself, and we don't know what it's going to think, and we don't know what it's going to do. And that's the thing with technology is, where it's good, it's making things convenient, it's making things cool, it's making work easier, but we don't know where it's going to go. Like how powerful can this be? Because it can be, as long as it's useful, I guess, because it's a machine, we need it to be useful. We don't need it to be like, artificially intelligent or anything like that, which, I mean, it would be cool to some level, but when a computer can just make itself better and better and better and better, we don't know where it's ever going to stop making itself better, or what's going to come out of that improvement that the computer keeps doing. So that's the thing about AI. That's the thing about, it's just like, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in the next several years. Computers just going to make themselves smarter. And it's no longer like, basically, we're not creating computers anymore at this point. Computers are creating computers, and computers are making them more and more powerful, more and more smart. And it'll just be smarter than we are. So, I mean, who knows what's going to come out of that? And on one hand, you can see how cool it can be. On another hand, you don't know what it can do. It can come up with whatever. I mean, it can come up with like great solutions to things, or it can come up with weapons. I mean, if you put those computers in the wrong hands, you can get crazy, crazy powerful weapons also that are really like, just really hard to control. So that's where that's going. So the future, there's got to be some kind of like balance with, it's got to be balanced between like what's useful technology and what's technology that's so uncertain that we don't really know what's going to come out of it. And we're going to have to figure this out as it happens. We're going to have to figure it out. But I mean, cars that park themselves and pick you up and get their own gas, and cell phones that like know the best place to eat and where there's an empty table. That sounds really cool. But a computer that just makes itself smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter indefinitely, and we don't know how smart it can actually make itself. We really don't know what it's going to actually evolve into, because it's evolving. It's starting from, it's starting from what it is, a computer, which is just a, a machine, but it's going to evolve itself into we don't know what. Like, a machine is one thing, but a machine could actually eventually become something that's not longer a machine. And it's going to become something that we don't even know really what it's going to become, because there's just no way to predict it. But it could start off as a machine and then evolve into something else. Life started as these little like organic single-celled organisms and evolved into more complex animals and people and stuff. So whatever AI is going to evolve into, right now it's starting as a machine, and it's going to evolve into something else. And no one knows what. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of mysterious. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of like uncertain also. So who knows where it's going to go? AI will be cool. AI is going to do all kinds of stuff. And AI is going to basically just evolve indefinitely. And we're talking about, if it really just starts to evolve indefinitely, it could evolve for thousands of years, and we don't know what it's going to evolve into at all. So, because we can't tell, So if you like my little video, can give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, please, if you want to see more videos like this or some other videos I have. And any comments, any comments, because this is a comment-full video where like people probably have ideas about what I'm saying and stuff like that. I don't know a lot about AI, but sounds really interesting and cool. So if you guys have like any comments or anything you wanted to share, please write it in the comments. And I will see you guys in another video, and take care.